After Brands Hatch, where the scores were level, and a surprise win by the Americans in appalling conditions at Mallory Park, they lead by 49 points with just 2 races to go. For the victors, the superb solid silver John Player Transatlantic Trophy, or as the banners put it, the Transatlantic Trophy. For the giant British crowd, one man matters more than all the rest, the 500cc world champion Barry Sheene, riding his brand new 650cc Japanese Suzuki 4, and not too happy after that bad day for the British at Mallory Park.
Yeah. Put the oil back in the forks because that doesn't work. Yeah. Right? Put 75% of that oil back in the forks, okay?
You got problems with the steering?
Well, it'd be all right if I could only get it in the right direction if I could keep both wheels on the ground at once.
I see. Where is it particularly bad, Barry? What part of the course?
Oh, it's very difficult going round, what do you call that big fast one?
The Island Bend in the way into Esso?
Well, it's difficult going into that because it patters on the front, and then coming out of it, you screw it on and it just gets on the back wheel, and then you have to shut the thing to get it around the right hand.
I see.
And then when you open it up again, it starts
even in Knickerbrick, do you have problems accelerating out of it?
No, I have big problems going into it, though. When I get into it, it bottoms on the front suspension.
I see.
Yeah, I see it again. I won't do any things at Knickerbrick this year.
No, I'm not at Knickerbrick.
How do you think that if we put some of the oil back in, that it might not make any difference anyway? He said maybe all the oil back in better.
OK, put it all back in then, Tony. And can you put another tooth on the rear wheel?
46 now.
Yeah.
3 of the British team were riding the green meanies, the 3-cylinder 750cc Kawasaki's. Barry Ditchburn in great pain with a cracked rib. Gritty Yorkshireman Mick Grant, the 1976 British Superbike champion, 1/5 and 2/7 so far, and hoping to do better today. And out of retirement, the 3rd Kawasaki team man who fell at Brands Hatch, 7 times world champion Phil Reed.
You stopped? Oh, just... No machine trouble? No problem. Fantastic.
The American flag flies high to celebrate a great lead. And there's the American captain, Kenny Roberts, winner of all 4 of this year's races at Brands Hatch and Mallory. Skip Axland, first time here and fresh from beating Barry Sheene last weekend at Long Beach, California. Steve Baker, America's 2nd superstar, winner at Daytona and one of a very strong team.
How do you feel that today will go? Because we're on a much larger and a much faster circuit than Mallory.
Well, this is not one of my favorite racetracks, so I'm going to ride around till I feel comfortable, and I'm going to tell the team to do the same.
Fine.
I don't think that now is the time to be heroic in throwing the thing away. I think if we just keep it on 2, we'll be all right.
The preliminaries are over, and on the line, a great deal of horsepower. Kawasaki's, Suzuki's, Yamaha's, the best of the Japanese bikes, and the race is on. 11 laps to go, and straight into the lead goes the brilliant American, Kenny Roberts. Already, it's number 2 that they're looking for. Kenny Roberts, who's well and truly out after those 16 points for a win. 15 for 2nd and so on. And sure enough, round Cascades in the lead goes Roberts. On towards Esso Bend. Through Esso and into 2. Roberts in the lead, and already he's got a lead of nearly 2 seconds over the 2nd and 3rd place men, battling ahead of Mick Grant there in 4th position. Then up to Druids, the right-hander. Roberts, knee out, and again, heels the bike over. 4, Pat Hennon. 32, Steve Baker. And 10, Mick Grant. That's the 4th man through, and then Barry Sheene, number 7 in 8th position on the first lap. Down to Lodge Corner, the right-hander which goes into the dip at Deer Leap. And Roberts is in a style of his own in the lead. 4, Pat Hennon 2nd, and Steve Baker still 3rd position. And round the corner we go with ex-world champion Phil Reed, number 3 on the Kawasaki. 1 lap completed, 10 to go. And round Cascades again. Roberts in the lead, 4, Pat Hennon 2nd, and it's still Steve Baker 3rd. Mick Grant 4th. out of Esso Bend and on to Druids. Number 2 in the lead, Kenny Roberts, in a class of his own, one of the 2 greatest road racers America has ever produced, and the other is behind him, Steve Baker. Roberts, the winner at Imola, the tremendously rich race in Italy. Ex-number 1 in America, and just look at the way he's showing the rest of them the way to go round Oulton Park. And I remind you that Roberts says he doesn't like Oulton very much. Down to Lodge, round the right-hander, into the dip at Deer Leap. Kenny Roberts goes through into lap 3, and it's a case of wake up Britain, because there are 5 Americans in the first 6 places. Roberts, Baker, Hennon, Mick Grant, Dave Aldana, Skip Excellent, and there is Kenny Roberts. And you can see he's pulling out a lead. Second place man now, it's Steve Baker, number 32. 4, Hennon, 10, Mick Grant, and then a solid pack of riders, and amongst them is Barry Sheen in 7th place, but fighting his way up through the field. Is he going to get into the first 6? Over the crest from Esso and down towards Knickerbrook, it's Kenny Roberts again, and that's the 3rd time he's been in the lead. But look at the pack behind him, and where is Barry Sheen? It's Baker, Hennon, Mick Grant, and Barry Sheen is up into 5th position. Sheen is coming up through the field as down to Druids, it's Kenny Roberts again. In 2nd place, 32, Steve Baker, 4, Pat Hennon, and 10 on the Kawasaki, Mick Grant, the Green Meanie. And there, number 7, Barry Sheen in 5th position on a machine, don't forget, which is 100cc capacity less than this one. Number 2, Kenny Roberts going through in the lead on lap 4. And Barry Sheen in 5th position goes through behind him. Roberts round the right-hander, number 2, and look at the gap before 32, Steve Baker, 4, Hennon, 10, Grant, Barry Sheen is catching up all the time on this brand new Suzuki of his. Don't forget that this is a team race and team points count, and it's Americans in the 1st, 2nd and 3rd places. The leading Englishman, Mick Grant, in 4th place, Barry Sheen in 5th position, so the Americans must be ahead on points in this race. And now they come down towards Lodge Corner. Number 2, Kenny Roberts, the American champion, leads on the Yamaha. Is it still Baker, number 32, in 2nd position? Yes, round goes Baker, Hennon, Grant, Sheen. Lap 6, and that's the half-distance lap. Round the left-hander and on towards Esso goes Roberts. Baker, it's at Barry Sheen. Barry Sheen is up into 4th place. He's ahead on the Suzuki, ahead of Mick Grant on the Kawasaki, who's down to 5th. So Roberts is now rounding Esso Bend, and that's one of the slowest corners on the course, and now he's on the quickest bit. Here at Knickerbrook is Kenny Roberts, sweeping the Yamaha round. Beautifully clean is his style. Steve Baker in 2nd position, Pat Hennon in 3rd position, and right behind him is Suzuki teammate number 7, Barry Sheen. Roberts in 2nd position, Baker 3rd. Barry Sheen in 3rd position. Barry Sheen is now ahead of Hennon. The British rider has really got his dander up. Barry Sheen in 3rd position as we go into lap 7, and Roberts is not going to lead very much longer because he's in trouble. Out goes his leg, and Kenny Roberts has got some sort of trouble with the Yamaha. Any moment now he's going to lose the lead. The race is really catching light, and he's lost the lead because it's Baker, Steve Baker in the lead, number 32, and right behind him it's Barry Sheen, and the crowd is going mad. Past Knickerbrook, up Clay Hill, down to Druids. Now the battle is well and truly on. The brilliant American Steve Baker on his Yamaha leads the brilliant Englishman Barry Sheen on his Suzuki. 32, 7. Number 4 in 3rd position is Barry Sheen's teammate, Pat Hennon, an American. Americans 1st and 3rd. Lap 7 completed and into lap 8. Baker, Sheen, Hennon. In the green meanie, it's Mick Grant. And on to this tremendously fast section, and Sheen is trying to take the lead. Barry Sheen now has got the British crowd well and truly on their feet because he's bidding for victory. Is he going to get it? Steve Baker, tremendously experienced rider, is not going to give way anywhere. What a fantastic scrap. Two of the finest riders in the world, neither giving nor asking for quarter. And the comparative newcomer, number 4, at Phil Reed. Phil Reed still cracking round on his Kawasaki as Kenny Roberts disconsolately walks about in the pit area out of the race. Down to Knickerbrook, and Baker will not give way, and why should he? Just watch the way the riders come right out of the saddle, get their knees almost grazing the ground as they heel the machines over. And Barry Sheen is right in the wheel tracks of Steve Baker. Pat Hennon only a few yards behind number 7 world champion Barry Sheen. That is the end of lap 10, it's the start of lap 11, and that's the last lap. Barry Sheen, it's now or never for the Suzuki star to get ahead of Steve Baker if he can. And if he can, it's going to make that vital 1-point difference to the British score. Sheen's going quicker, and he's passed. Barry Sheen is in the lead. Incredible bit of riding. And they go round through for the last time, and Barry Sheen is showing the British crowd that this is what real riding is all about, as he comes down to Lodge Corner for the last time, and Barry Sheen wins for Britain, and Britain wins this first leg at Oulton Park. Across the line he goes after a superb victory.
Barry, it looked as though you got your handling problems sorted out from this morning.
Well, it was a case of having to. I'd done a grand total of 2 laps of practice, and I was thinking, oh God, there's all those people out there, you know, waiting for me to do something. So I felt I couldn't go out and let them down, so the thing was wriggling a lot, so I just gave it all the stick it had and hung on to it.
Well, certainly looking at the times, it would appear that your fastest lap of 1:35.8 represents 103.75, which is a lot above the old lap record of 100.2, isn't it?
I was trying a lot harder.
You were trying hard.
Yeah, well, I was trying so hard. I got plastic kneecaps in here, and the thing was sliding, and I was just touching my knee on the ground. I hit it on a curve once there.
It's beginning to look a bit more like ice racing out there in road racing now.
Feeling like ice racing as well,
Let's ask one more question. Where do you go from here if we're now on our knees?
Oh, I don't know. They can forget the elbows.
Then another 11 laps, and Great Britain is 37 points down. And number 2 there, Kenny Roberts, is riding Steve Baker, number 32's spare machine, as Barry Ditchburn guns the Kawasaki ready for the start. British ace, number 7, Barry Sheen, the man who's just done the record lap at 103.75 miles an hour. And it's a poor start for Barry Sheen. He's left behind as the flag falls, and into Old Hall Corner. First, it's number 32, and that's Steve Baker. Baker leads, it's Mick Grant on the Kawasaki in 2nd place. And here they come, wheeling down the straight, and Steve Baker now means to make it another American victory for him this time, as he really buckles round the right-hander there. And they're close up, and Barry Sheen is gaining already. Into Druid, 10 is Mick Grant, 2 Roberts, 4 Hennon, and 12 is Barry Ditchburn well up, as number 1 Steve Parrish goes through. And there, the 2 American tailenders, 25 MD and Kevin Stafford. Lap 2, and the British are doing better because Mick Grant is 2nd, Barry Ditchburn is 4th, and Barry Sheen is in 5th position. And there is number 7 Sheen, and they're on their 2nd lap now. The leader, Steve Baker, and look how Mick Grant is hanging on. Behind him in third position is number 2, Kenny Roberts. It's Americans in first and third position then. Up to Druids, Baker. Number 10, Grant. Number 2, Kenny Roberts, as we follow the 2 leaders round. Mick Grant riding the race of his life, and Barry Sheen pulling away from Ditchburn. He's in 5th position. Baker, Grant, Roberts. Into lap 3. And Mick Grant is holding British honour high. He's doing absolutely superbly, right in the wheel tracks of Baker. And Hinnon is ahead of Roberts now for 3rd position. So it's Americans first, 3rd and 4th. Steve Baker, Grant, Hinnon, Roberts, Barry Sheen, the first 5, and there is Ditchburn in 6th position. And Druids. But as they go round Druids, where is Barry Sheen? Barry Sheen is missing. Number 7 seems to be out of the running, and there he is. Sheen is touring. And just listen to this very sick motorcycle. With Sheen out of the points, that's a bitter, bitter blow for Britain, as the leader, Steve Baker, with Mick Grant right behind him, goes through to start lap 4. And now the British are only got 2 riders in the first 5 places. It's Baker leading Grant. Hennon is 3rd, Roberts 4th, and that's 3 Americans in the first 4, as the leader, Steve Baker, number 32, comes round the left-hander. It's Grant, Hennon, Roberts, and Phil Reed, number 3, on the Kawasaki, or rather off the Kawasaki, is pushing in for points. And right behind him is teammate Barry Sheen. And Britain is now in dire trouble. Reed out, and Barry Sheen out, and they were 2 of the top men who could have really scored points. And poor old Phil Reed has got to push that Kawasaki up the hill, out of Deer Leap, up to the start line and wait there, whereas Barry Sheen's motor is still running. And wheeling on towards victory, Steve Baker up out of the fairing, and he now is coming through to complete shortly his 4th lap. Steve Baker, who looks as though he's hardly strong enough to hold the bike up, let alone ride it, is in magnificent form. But poor Phil Reed has now got to push that Kawasaki up the hill here, and a racing motorcycle is very heavy indeed, and the leaders are going through to complete the lap as Barry Sheen rides in, and Phil Reed says, no thank you, don't give me a push, because if you do, that'll break the rules. Lap 7 now, and that's well over half distance. And Steve Baker is riding the race of his life. Just look at him. And so too is Mick Grant on the Kawasaki, but Roberts is closing up. And Hennon, number 4, is still in 4th position. My goodness, how that fellow Steve Baker rides. And Roberts is 2nd. Kenny Roberts has got ahead of the gritty Yorkshireman, Mick Grant, to take 2nd places. So now it's America in the lead, America in 2nd place, Britain 3rd, and America in 4th position as Roberts comes up to Druids. Mick Grant behind him, number 10. And there's the American Suzuki superstar Pat Hennon, the only American ever to have won a Grand Prix. As Baker goes on his winning way, Roberts, Mick Grant behind him. In 5th position, it's number 12, Barry Ditchburn, as Barry Sheen waits at the line, ready to push his machine across.
Very quickly, Barry, what happened?
I think the engine tightened, just tightened on one cylinder. Really annoyed, to say the least, because I was just warming the tyres and I was catching up without any... Because Kenny's on Stevie's bike, and, you know, it gives him a bit of a disadvantage, and I was catching without any trouble at all.
So you're going to wait and push across the line? You got a few
I vow to declare I never ever push a motorbike, but I'll do it this time.
Just for points for Britain, and Britain needs them because Steve Baker's 2 bikes are in the lead. He's riding one of them, and number 32, there he is. And on the 2nd, it's number 2, Kenny Roberts. 3rd is number 10, Mick Grant on the Kawasaki. And the British team are in real trouble all the time, because with Reid out and with Sheen out, Steve Parrish, number 1, is in trouble, pushing his Suzuki home as number 11, Roger Marshall, goes through ahead of 15, the American Dave Aldana. And Roberts is pushing Baker very hard indeed. The American is determined to get Baker's own bike home first before the one that Baker himself is riding, as they go into lap 10 now. This is the penultimate lap. David Emdy has been lapped, and now they go on towards Esso Bend, the slow, sweeping right-hander. Baker leads, Roberts is second, and Baker goes through at Knickerbrook, but the gap has extended. Where is Kenny Roberts? Where is Kenny Roberts, the second place man on Baker's machine? And it looks as though he must be, yes! Roberts is out of the race because Mick Grant now is in second position. And that means that there is Pat Hennon, who has moved up into third place. And Kevin Stafford has been lapped already as Baker comes up to him a second time, sweeping round the right-hander, and he's now on his way to a last lap with Mick Grant in second position and Pat Hennon in third place. And the British are still ahead on points in this particular race as the leader on his last lap, and that Stevie Baker, the American wonder, goes through. Well, the crowd has seen a tremendous afternoon's racing, including that record lap from Barry Sheen, and Steve Parrish still wending his lonely way back to the start as Baker goes past him about 100 miles an hour faster, and Steve Baker wins for the race and wins for America. So Baker wins. Mick Grant is second in this race, 15 points, and Pat Hennon third with 14. And Baker puts up a record average at 100.99 miles an hour, the first time that the 100-mile-an-hour average has ever been beaten at Oulton Park. And America has won the series as Captain Kenny Roberts walks back.
What actually happened to you in the last one?
Well, I was following Stevie around, and along the hairpin down at the old track, low gear corner, or second gear corner, I got in wide, got it turned and come out too low, and there's gravel or something.
There's gravel, yes, and it threw you off.
Yeah, definitely threw me off and landed on me again, and then landed on me again.
But you're still smiling.
Yeah, we won.
Anyway, congratulations. Very happy
thank
for
you.
you. Great.
Thank you. We did it again now. Where's my bonus?
That's the first time that anyone has ever averaged over 100 miles an hour for Oulton Park. What's your feelings on 100.99?
Well, I don't know. It looks pretty good to me. You know, it's pretty quick around here, and all I was trying to do is keep ahead of Mick Grant, which was going very well, and I didn't know Kenny was coming up so strong on my spare bike.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to pace myself, and I looked around every once in a while to see where Mick was, and just kept my pace up.
So you feel you could have gone even quicker?
Yeah, I might have if somebody would have passed me or something. You know, I was trying pretty hard. Just the same.
Anyway, you're going home happy now. America have done it again.
That's
the
right.
Second time, and may I congratulate you personally.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
What a wonderful second John Player Transatlantic Trophy win for the Americans, which they richly deserved. And now we'll look forward to 1978 with real anticipation.